Yeah, well, tonight we were remembering Hugh Watters and Jack Rooney, two men in their early 60s who were killed 40 years ago today, just outside, just opposite here, the pub opposite, which was then called Kay's Tavern. And about 20 people were injured in the bomb. It was a no-warning car bomb which exploded at 6:20 on the 19th of December 1975. And it was the same perpetrators as carried out the Dublin Monaghan bombings and subsequently Castleblaney and so many attacks north of the border. Reverend Jeffrey Walmsley. We will now get our ceremony underway, and I invite my colleague Anne Cadwallader to speak to you. Anne is a former journalist and now works for the Pat Finucane Centre, of which Justice for the Forgotten is part. She is author of the best-selling book Lethal Allies, British Collusion in Ireland, which was published 2 years ago in 2013. Anne.
Thank you, Margaret. I'm honoured to be here today speaking to this 40th commemoration of a black day in Irish history. The first tragedy of the day was the bombing of Kay's Tavern here in Dundalk, when the two people whose memory we are here to respect and remember died. They were Hugh Watters, aged 60, and Jack Rooney, aged 61. Hugh had 4 children, 3 girls and a boy, while Jack had 2, a girl and a boy. The bombing of Kay's Tavern was followed 3 hours later by a gun and bomb attack on Donnelly's bar just north of the border. There the victims were Michael Donnelly, aged 14, the son of Marie and Gerard Donnelly, who owned Donnelly's bar, Patsy Donnelly, aged 23, who was on his way to see his fiancée, and Trevor Brecknell, aged 32, the father of 3 children, and whose 2 sons are here with us this evening. 5 people in one evening. Murders carried out by the Glennane Gang, a rag bag of loyalist RUC and UDR men who gathered later that night in a bar in Banbridge to celebrate their handiwork.
I was a student at the time in Dundalk at the RTC, and we were on the square here playing music and collecting money for Simon Community and Concern. Some of us were on a hunger fast, 72-hour hunger fast, and rather than go into our local bar, Mark's bar, where we played music, we went down, myself and Mickey McGann, to Kay's Tavern, and we saw Anne King, who was betrothed. She was engaged to the owner's son at the time, and we knew her. We sat down beside her, and moments later, bomb went off. I didn't know what to think at the time. I got bounced off the wall, the ceiling, the bar, onto the floor. I tried crawling behind the bar, and I realised there was spirits everywhere, and the place was already in flames. So then I stood up, and I wasn't too bad. I'm not aware I was injured, but I saw an elderly man staggering around, bad gash in his head, and I tried to get him out through the front, through the flames, and he refused to go. So he got me towards the back, but there was no place to go. We got stuck in what I think was a telephone kind of corner or something like that, and we were there till the place burnt down and the fire brigade eventually came in, and I left him and stepped over the floor joists. The floor was gone, the joists were there. As it happens, I was studying in college building, and I knew to stand on the burning floor joists saved my life. And I got to the window, a fireman crashed through the transom, grabbed me. I was kicking and screaming to put me down, because I knew that person I'd be trying to keep alive was ill. I didn't think he was alive at that point, but I was saying, get into him. So I was left on the sidewalk, the footpath, and then eventually I was brought up here to this point where there was an ambulance. It was like a spaceship, because of course there was no light any place except from the ambulance. And from the ambulance I was taken to the Louth Hospital, and from the Louth the next day I was taken to Dr. Stevens in Dublin, where it just happened that Mr. Prendeville and Mr. Edwards, who were to become known as the fathers of plastic surgery, they were able to fix me up. I had 93% burns. According to the BBC World Service, I held the world's burn record for 22 years. not something I'm terribly proud of, but there it is.